Question 1. 917 plus 100. So we have 900s, we're adding 100, so in our answer we'll have 10 hundreds, which is the same as 1000 and 0 hundreds. And of course, the 17 stays the same because we aren't adding any tens or units. So our answer is 1017. Now with these early questions, it's really important to use mental methods where you can, because using the column method for questions like this will really slow you down. Question 2, 432 times 2. Now here, we can see that there isn't going to be any exchanging, so our answer is 864, because we can just multiply each digit by 2. You could use the column method, but for these early questions, try to do as much mentally as you can. Question 3, 5.7 plus 0.2. So we have 7 tenths, and we're adding 2 tenths. So in our answer, we need 9 tenths, and of course the 5 stays the same. Question 4, 16 times 4. We can set this out as a column multiplication. 6 times 4 is 24, so 2, 4. 1 times 4 is 4, plus 2 is 6, so our answer is 64. Question 5, 1263 plus 557. We can set this out as a column addition. 3 plus 7 is 10, so 1, 0. 1 plus 6 plus 5 is 12, so 1, 2. 1 plus 2 plus 5 is 8, and 1 plus nothing is 1. So our answer is 1820. Question 6, 54 divided by 9. Well, we should know our times table facts up to 12 times 12. And if we know that 6 times 9 is 54, we know that 54 divided by 9 must be 6. Question 7. 766 minus 9. The easiest way to subtract 9 is to use adjusting, to subtract 10 and then add 1. If we subtract 10, we get 756. But subtracting 10 means we've subtracted 1 too many, so we need to adjust by adding 1 to what we got, and that gives us our answer of 757. The other way to subtract a single-digit number is to subtract so you get to the previous multiple of 10, so subtracting 6 gets us to 760. Then, if we've subtracted 6 and we need to subtract 9, we need to subtract 3 more, and that gets us our answer. Question 8, 3.6 plus 0.06. In the number 3.6, we have units and tenths, but in the number we're adding, we don't have any units and tenths, only hundredths. So our answer is 3.66. This question is just about recognising decimal place value, but if you're unsure, you could write it out as a column addition, making sure that you have your decimal points lined up, because if your decimal points are lined up, all of your other place values will be lined up as well. Then you can write 0 in your empty place value column, remember the decimal point in your answer, and then add as normal to get your answer. Question 9, 8 times 5 times 3. You can multiply numbers in any order, but if we start with 8 times 5, we get 40, and then we need to multiply that 40 by the last number in our question, so we need to work out 40 times 3. That gives us 120, because 4 times 3 is 12, and if we have one end 0 in the question, we need one end 0 in the answer as well. So 8 times 5 times 3 is 120. Question 10. 5/7 minus 3/7. We can see that we already have a common denominator of 7, so the denominator in our answer stays the same. And then we can just subtract the numerators, and 5 minus 3 is 2, so our answer is 2/7. Question 11. 720 divided by 8. If we know that 72 divided by 8 is 9, because 9 times 8 is 72, then we know that our answer must be 90, because 72 divided by 8 is 9, and if we have one end zero in our dividend, we need one end zero in our answer. You could also set it out as a short division. But to save time, if you see a division with a 0 at the end, remember that it might be quicker to use mental methods. Question 12. 2.38 times 100. So the easiest way to multiply by 100 is to write out your number, then copy down the decimal point underneath. Now because 100 has 2 zeros on the end, we need to move the digits 2 places, and because we're multiplying, the digits move 2 places to the left, so we can write the digits 238 2 squares across. Now we can see that the decimal point is at the end of our number, and if we have a decimal point at the end and no digits after it, we have a whole number, so our answer is 238. The other way to think about multiplying by 100 is to imagine the decimal point moving. So if we move the decimal point 2 places, we can see that it's now at the end of our number, so we get the same answer. Question 13. 6 squared. We need to remember that the little 2 means multiply the number by itself. So what they're really asking us here is 6 times 6, which is 36. Question 14. 30,000 minus 300. So here, if we look at the hundreds columns, we have 0 hundreds and we're subtracting 3 hundreds. Now, we can't do 0 take away 3, so it might be tempting here to use column subtraction. But what we can do instead is look to the left. We still only have zeros, so if we look to the left again, we can see that our answer will be 300 take away 3 followed by 2 zeros. So we have 29,700, because 300 take away 3 is 297, and then we need the zeros that we started with in our tens and units columns. Question 15. 200 times 200. Our answer is 40,000, because 2 times 2 is 4, and then if we have a total of 4 end zeros in our multiplication question, we need 4 end zeros in our answer. Question 16. 1,210 divided by 11. So we should know that 11 times 11 is 121, so 121 divided by 11 is 11. That means our answer will be 110, because if we have one end zero in the dividend, we need one end zero in the answer. When you see a division with a 0 on the end, that's usually a clue that you can use mental methods to solve it. But if you're unsure, you can always check using short division. 12 divided by 11 is 1, remainder 1. 11 divided by 11 is 1. And 0 divided by 11 is 0. Question 17. Find 20% of 2,500. So remember that a percentage is just a fraction over 100. So to find 20%, we can find 20 hundredths. So finding a fraction of a number, we start by dividing by the denominator, And 2,500 divided by 100 is 25, because we can cancel the zeros and do 25 divided by 1. Then we multiply by the numerator, so we need to work out 25 times 20. That's 500, because 25 times 2 is 50. And then if we have one end zero in the question, we need one end zero in the answer after the 50 we got from multiplying 25 by 2. So 20% of 2,500 is 500. A quicker method might have been to realise that we'll get the same answer with any fraction equivalent to 20 hundredths, and we can simplify that to 1/5 by dividing both the numerator and the denominator by 20. Then, to find our answer, we just need to divide by 5. Question 18. 1.43 times 7. We can set this out as a column multiplication, and we need to remember that if there are 2 decimal places in the question, there will be 2 decimal places in the answer, so we can write our decimal point straight away so that we don't forget. Now, 3 times 7 is 21, so 2, 1. 4 times 7 is 28, plus 2 is 30, so 3, 0. And 1 times 7 is 7, plus 3 is 10. So our answer is 10.01. Question 19. 1/7 plus 3/7. We can see that we have a common denominator of 7 in the question, so the denominator will be 7 in our answer as well. Now we can just add the numerators, and 1 plus 3 is 4, so our answer is 4/7. Question 20. 5,965 plus 6,612. So we need to set this out as a column addition. 5 plus 2 is 7, 6 plus 1 is 7, 9 plus 6 is 15, so 1, 5, and 1 plus 5 plus 6 is 12. So our answer is 12,577. Question 21. 8,050 divided by 5. We can set this out as a short division. 8 divided by 5 is 1 remainder 3. 30 divided by 5 is 6. 5 divided by 5 is 1. And 0 divided by 5 is 0. So our answer is 1,610. Question 22. 11 minus 4.01. So we can solve this mentally by subtracting 4 from 11, which is 7. Then we need to subtract another 0.01. Now, if you're not sure how to do this, remember that we can think of 7 as being 7.00. So if we have 7.00 minus 0.01, we get 6.99. Because 700 minus 1 is 699. So our answer is 6.99. If we're unsure, we can always use column subtraction, making sure that our place values are lined up, and then writing 0.00 on the end of our whole number. We need the decimal point in our answer, but now we can't do 0 minus 1, and we can't exchange with the next place value column along. So first, we exchange one of our units for 10 tenths. Then we exchange one of our tenths for 10 hundredths. Now, 10 minus 1 is 9, 9 minus 0 is 9, and 10 minus 4 is 6. So we have our answer. Question 23. 53 times 26. 3 times 6 is 18, so 1, 8. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 1 is 31. Now we can cross out our working, write a 0, and now 3 times 2 is 6, and 5 times 2 is 10. So let's add up our answer lines. 8 plus 0 is 8, 1 plus 6 is 7, 3 plus 0 is 3, and nothing plus 1 is 1. So our answer is 1378. Question 24. 17.4 minus 9.66. We can set this out as a column subtraction, making sure that our decimal points are lined up, writing a 0 in our empty place value column, and then copying the decimal point down into our answer line. We can't do 0 take away 6, so we exchange. And 10 minus 6 is 4. Now, we can't do 3 minus 6, so we exchange. And 13 minus 6 is 7. Now, 16 minus 9 is 7, so our answer is 7.74. Question 25. 4,563 divided by 13. So first we need to work out our 13 times table. 13 is of course 1 times 13. If we add another 13, we get 26 for 2 times. Another 13 gives us 39 for 3 times. We get 52 for 4 times, and then another 13 gives us 65 for 5 times. Now once I've got to 5 times, I usually like to look back at the question, and then if we need to write any more, we can do so later. So taking the first 2 digits together, we have 45. That's more than 13, so we need to find the closest number we've written to 45, which is still less than 45. So the closest number we have is 39. So we can write that below the 45, and then because 39 is 3 times, we can write 3 in our answer line. Now we subtract and bring down. 45 minus 39 is 6, and we can bring down the 6, so we have 66 divided by 13. So the closest number to 66 in the 13 times table is 65. So we can write 65 below, and because that's 5 times, we have 5 as the next digit of our answer. So again, we can subtract and bring down. 66 minus 65 is 1, and if we bring down the 3, we have 13 divided by 13, which is, of course, 1. So our answer is 351. Question 26. 1/5 times 1/7. So here we're multiplying fractions. So all we need to do is multiply our numerators. So 1 times 1 is 1. And then we multiply our denominators. So 5 times 7 is 35. So our answer is 1 over 35. Question 27. Find 85% of 360. So we can remember that a percentage is a fraction with a denominator of 100. And to find a fraction of a number, we can divide by the denominator and then multiply by the numerator. So first, if we divide 360 by 100, that gives us 3.6. That's because to divide by 100, we can imagine the decimal point on the end of our whole number, and if we copy it down, to divide by 100, we're moving the digits 2 squares to the right. We're moving digits to the right because we're dividing, and we're moving 2 squares because there are 2 zeros in 100. So we can copy the digits down and we get 3.60. But we can ignore zeros on the end of decimals, so our answer is just 3.6. But then we need to multiply by the numerator. So we have 3.6 times 85. What we need to remember is that if there is a decimal point in the question, we need to copy it down into our answer. One decimal place in the question means we have one decimal place in the answer. So now 6 times 5 is 30, so 3, 0. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 3 is 18. Now we can cross out our working, write the 0 in our second answer line, and 6 times 8 is 48, so 4, 8. 3 times 8 is 24, plus 4 is 28. So if we add up our answer lines, we get 306.0, which we can just write as 306, because if we have 0.0, we have a whole number. Question 28. 214,489 minus 47,969. So we can set this out as a column subtraction, making sure we've got the digits lined up on the right hand side. 9 minus 9 is 0, 8 minus 6 is 2, 9 is larger than 4, so we can't do 4 minus 9, which means we go to the left, 1 less, 1 in front. 14 minus 9 is 5, we can't do 3 minus 7, so go to the left, 1 less, 1 in front. 13 minus 7 is 6, and 20 minus 4 is 16. So our answer is 166,520. Question 29. 569 times 63. 9 times 3 is 27, so 2, 7. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 2 is 20, so 2, 0. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 2 is 17. So now we can cross out our working and write the 0 in our second answer line, because on this second answer line we're going to multiply 569 by our 6 tens. So 9 times 6 is 54, so 5, 4. 6 times 6 is 36, plus 5 is 41, so 4, 1. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 4 is 34. So now we can add up our answer lines. 7 plus 0 is 7, 0 plus 4 is 4, 7 plus 1 is 8, 1 plus 4 is 5, nothing plus 3 is 3, so we get 35,847. Question 30, 13 times 1.5. So here we're multiplying a whole number and a mixed number. So the easiest way to do this is to turn our mixed number into an improper fraction. So 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So as an improper fraction, we can write 1.5 as 3 halves, or 3 over 2. And the whole number in our question is 13. But we need to remember that when we multiply a fraction by a whole number, we only multiply the numerator and the denominator stays the same. So we can work out 3 times 13, that's 39, but then the denominator stays the same. So we could write our answer as an improper fraction, so write 39 over 2. But if we want to change that back to a mixed number, what we can do is divide 39 by 2 and write our remainder as a fraction. So 3 divided by 2 is 1 remainder 1, 19 divided by 2 is 9 remainder 1. So we can write the remainder 1 as our numerator, and then our denominator is what we're dividing by. So our answer is 19.5. Question 31. 30 minus 5 times 2. So here we need to remember the order of operations. We always do multiplication or division before we do addition or subtraction. So here we need to work out 5 times 2 first. 5 times 2 is 10, and then we can subtract that from 30 to get 20. The way I remember the order of operations is that addition and subtraction are easy, and we leave the easy stuff till the end. So here we do the multiplication first. Question 32. 2/7 divided by 2. So the easiest way to divide a fraction by a whole number is to leave the numerator the same and then multiply the denominator of the fraction by the number that we're dividing by. So the numerator stays the same, and 7 times 2 is 14, so our answer is 2 over 14. Now we could simplify that to 1 over 7, but for this arithmetic paper, to get the mark, we don't need to simplify the fraction, so we can just move on to the next question. Question 33. 1 and 1/5 minus 1/3. So first we can change our mixed number into an improper fraction, and then we can get the denominators the same. So 1 times 5 is 5, plus 1 is 6, and the denominator stays the same. So instead of 1 and 1/5, we can have 6/5 minus 1/3. But to subtract fractions, we need the denominators to be the same. Our denominators are 5 and 3, but 5 isn't in the 3 times table, so we need to find 2 equivalent fractions. Now 15 is in the 5 times table and in the 3 times table, so we can find equivalent fractions to 6/5 and 1/3 with the denominator of 15. 5 times 3 is 15, 6 times 3 is 18. 3 times 5 is 15, and 1 times 5 is 5. So instead of 1 and 1/5 or 6/5, we can write 18 over 15. And instead of subtracting 1/3, we can subtract 5 over 15. So we leave the denominator the same, and 18 minus 5 is 13. So our answer is 13 over 15. Now question 34. 3,384 divided by 47. So first we need to work out our 47 times table. 47 is of course 1 times. If we add another 47, 94 is 2 times. 141 is 3 times. 188 is 4 times. 235 is 5 times. And when we get to 5 times, we can look back at the question. If we take the first 2 digits together, we have 33, but that's less than 47. So here we need to take the first 3 digits together and divide 338 by 47. But we're not close to 338, so we need to keep going. If we add another 47, that's 282 for 6 times, 329 for 7 times, and because we can see that that's very close to 338, we can write 329 below the 338, because if we added another 47 to get 8 times, we would have more than 338, and the number we write below has to be less. So we can see that 329 is 7 times, so we write 7 in our answer line, and now we subtract. So we get 338 minus 329, that's 9, and we bring down the 4, so we have 94 divided by 47, and we can see that 94 is exactly 2 times. So we can write 2 in our answer line to give us the answer 72. Question 35. 2/3 plus 5/6. So to add fractions, we need the denominators to be the same. And 6 is in the 3 times table, so we can find a fraction equivalent to 2/3, which has a denominator of 6. 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 2 is 4, so instead of 2/3, we can have 4/6 plus 5/6. So the denominator stays the same, 4 plus 5 is 9, so we can write the answer as an improper fraction, so that's 9 over 6, or we can change it back into a mixed number. But for this paper, we get the mark for leaving it as an improper fraction, so we can move straight on to the last question. Question 36. 5/6 divided by 2. So remember, to divide a fraction by a whole number, we can leave the numerator the same, and then, instead of doing any division, we can just multiply the denominator by the number that we're dividing by. So the 5 stays the same, and 6 times 2 is 12, so our answer is 5/12.